This is Olivia Osgood, and you are listening to the How to Quit Working Show. I'm glad that my mommy's an entrepreneur so that we get to spend lots of time together and she gets to homeschool me.
This is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working program. This is Heather Osgood, your host of the Friday episode of the How to Quit Working show. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I want to make sure that you've had a chance to join the How to Quit Working Circle. When you join the How to Quit Working Circle, you get a free video tutorial. You also have access to our Facebook group, which is a great place to be, where you can be supported by like-minded individuals who are just like you and wanting to start a business. And you also are privy to information about any live trainings or opportunities that we have. So I would really encourage you to go to howtoquitworking.com/circle and join the How to Quit Working Circle today. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about lessons that I learned in my longest standing company that I owned. I owned a company for almost 10 years and sold it last year. And if you listened to last week's episode, you heard my the first 5 tips that I had for you. And this week, I'm going to give 5 more. And then next week, I'm going to give the following 5. So I would say probably within 30 days of selling my company, I sat down and I said, okay, what were the things that I really, really learned while I owned this business? And 15 things just came out as being the most significant learning lessons that I had while in that business. And it was a larger company. We did almost $1 million in gross revenue. We, like I said, owned it for a long time. We had several employees. And I would say probably it has been the most substantial of the companies that I have owned. Now, I do have the haircutting business that is rapidly growing and could very well pace that company here within the next couple of years. But really, the trade show production company that I owned, it just had a deeper kind of connection for me because it was something that I created and it was a huge passion for me. So I had a lot of ups and downs with that business. I had learning lessons. I had times of total prosperity and success and times where I really felt like it was just super overwhelming and I wasn't sure what to do next. So I want to share with you 5 of these lessons that I learned. And I will tell you that some lessons are easy to learn and others are not. And some of these were hard lessons for me. So first and foremost, I want you to think about the idea of, as you're starting this business, is it a business or is it a job that you're creating for yourself? There's nothing wrong with either creating a business and an organization or creating a job for yourself, but there are definitely some differences between the two. When you are building a business, really the company has infrastructure of some sort. And when I think about businesses, I really think about them as being organizations. So if you have created a job for yourself, that is wonderful, but it is a job for yourself. For instance, my son and his best friend have just graduated from high school and they're super cute. They're down at the city hall right now getting their business license and they're going to be doing computer repair. And it is definitely a job that they are creating for themselves. They're going to go out and solicit both businesses and homeowners or individuals who have computer needs, and when they have a computer need, they're going to come in and they're going to do the work. They're going to fix the computers. And if the two of them aren't out there and they're not fixing computers, then they're not going to be, they're not going to be paid. There won't be a company without the two of them. So I am really excited for him. He has been working at a pizza place and I kind of hope that he continues working there for a little longer. But he also is really going to get this experience of creating a job for himself that does allow him to have freedom, flexibility, and most importantly, really the potential to make a whole lot more than he could make doing his pizza job, right? So he's making $9 an hour working at a pizza place, and he's going to be charging $30 an hour to fix someone's computer. Obviously, even after expenses, he's going to be making a whole lot more creating this job for himself than he would be working at the pizza place. So if you're thinking about starting a business, or if you currently are a business owner, really kind of define for yourself, are you a business owner or have you created a job for yourself? Characteristics of a business or a larger organization may include having employees. And in all cases, really, it should include having employees, because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a workforce that can do the work, deliver the service, totally detached from you. So it's a separate entity outside of who you are. If you are in the very center of all the action that's happening in this business, you will never be able to detach from the business. You'll never be able to sell the company. And you certainly won't be able to create any sort of a passive income if it's something that you have to really be trading your hours for pay. Frequently with a business or an organization, you're going to have systems and processes in place because you do have employees or contractors, people that are working for you. You're going to have these really good systems and processes so that people aren't constantly having to turn to you and say, what do I do now? How do I do it? Or are they going to do things in a different way that's going to produce a different result for your consumer that may end up in them really not liking the product or the service as well as when you originally delivered it. Now, if you're starting a business, in every situation, you personally are going to have to invest time and frequently money into getting that business or organization up and off the ground. You have to be present there. You have to create the systems and processes. You have to ensure that the products or the services that you're delivering are on par with what your vision or goals are for the company. But as you have that solidified, then you will be able to really hire the support staff around you to really get you to a place of success within your business. So it's really important to determine what it is that you're doing because it will determine the outcome. Last week I talked about having an exit strategy. If you've created a job for yourself, no one's going to buy that from you. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but you do need to decide what is your exit strategy going to be. If you decided to stop business and you didn't want to continue with your business, how would you really kind of detach your clients? If you've got an ongoing client base, how would you tell them if you decided maybe you wanted to deliver a different product or service or totally change the company? That could be an exit strategy. Or if you're building a large organization or a business, could there be an opportunity for you to sell that company or maybe even pass it along to a child, a close relative, something to that effect? So really know where you're at in your business and get really truthful with yourself. At the beginning of my trade show production company life, one of my partner's kind of mentors in life, he had worked for a very large marketing firm in the Los Angeles area, mentioned to her that our company wasn't sellable, that no one would ever want to purchase it. And that was a bit of a sting for me when he said that, because I thought, why? Why wouldn't anybody want to buy this? And then it became very clear to me that if you were to extract the two of us, you wouldn't have a business. And so we had to really, really work toward getting to a place where the company was self-sustaining. And then in my haircutting business, I have been able to really create a culture. My husband and I have been able to create a culture as well as a very strong staff that are able to be there, that can run the shop and can deliver the quality of service that our expectations warrant to really grow that business and create something that is outside of who we are. So really, those are hard things frequently for business owners to come to terms with, but really think about what it is exactly that you're doing and how you're doing it in your business. Next, I want to address kind of a big lesson for me in this concept of creating more for yourself. And frequently, as a business owner, we think that bigger is better. We think that if we have, if we have 2 employees, then hiring 10 is better. If we have 2 services that we offer, then 10 is better. If we, have maybe a service that we offer, then we need to have a product that we offer with it. If we are working out of our homes, we think we need an office building. If we have a small office building, we think a bigger office building would be better. If we have an office building but no receptionist, we think we need a receptionist. It's like we're constantly growing in our minds and thinking that if we are bigger, we will be better. And if you look at kind of our consumerism or consumeristic mentality that we have frequently in our societies around the world, we kind of equate more as being better, right? Like if you have 4 pairs of jeans that are awesome, a 5th pair of jeans is going to be a whole lot better. And if you have a 1,200 square foot house, then a 3,600 square foot house has to be so much better, right? And I just learned the lesson over and over, truthfully, that bigger wasn't better. A lot of times we would say like, okay, we want to hire a new employee, and we would get all jazzed about hiring this person, and we would fill that role. And then in 6 months, we would say, oh my gosh, we have wasted so much money because we just hired this person to do all these things that we really didn't even need that person to do. We had maybe the capability of restructuring some of the tasks to have current employees handle those roles, and yet we felt like hiring another employee was really kind of up-leveling us as an organization. And we weren't always very good at really looking at our numbers and making sure that by adding this person that we were going to be able to add that level of sales coming in to really cover the expense of the employee. The other thing that we really struggled with as a business, and is I think a very difficult thing to determine, is when is the right time to actually add an employee, or when is the right time to expand into a bigger building? When should you offer new products and services? And what we found frequently was we would increase our sales, and so then we would need to increase our team size to handle the increase in sales. Well, let's say we increased our sales by $40,000 and we were going to pay $35,000 to an employee. Once you count in all of your fixed expenses, your cost of goods sold, and really even just the additional payroll taxes you have to bring in, you're really losing money because you hired this person. And coming up with that number and being real about where you're at as an organization is so, so, so important. And if you are at a place where you're feeling like you really would like to expand as a company, I want you to really think about whether adding that person, whether moving to an office that's larger, or making some of these kind of outwardly appearing advancements is really going to serve you well. Because if it's not going to serve you well, what's the point of doing it? And I know that for me, I didn't necessarily want to work harder just to employ more people. And especially with employees and with payroll, you have to really, really look at what is that number going to be for you. If you are going to pay somebody $35,000, maybe you need to bring in $70,000 to really make it worthwhile for you as an organization. So come up with those numbers and get really clear about them before you just continue to add and add. So that was a really big lesson for me. Next was marketing is key. Now, I've been in sales and marketing my whole career, and of course, this wasn't a huge revelation to me, but I felt like I saw it over and over again and again in the businesses that I worked with and in our business, where marketing would sometimes fall to the bottom of the priority list. Marketing is one of those things where we all know that we should be doing marketing, and it feels really ambiguous in a lot of ways. I think especially with the shifts in the way that marketing is done, with all of the opportunities on the internet, and still having opportunities that are the face-to-face local connections, as well as just local marketing efforts. It can be really challenging as a business owner to decide what your marketing path should really be and how to execute it. But I just constantly return to the concept that if people don't know what you're doing, they're not going to make a buying decision from you. And, I really like to just go back to top of mind awareness. If you and I and a group of friends were to get together and say, hey, let's go ahead and go grab a bite to eat, we would automatically generally think of somewhere between 3 and 5 different places where we could go to eat. Now, in most cases, unless you live in a really, really small town, there's probably hundreds of different places that you could go get a bite to eat, right? So there are lots and lots of opportunities, but again, we usually just think of a few options. And it doesn't matter how many restaurants there are surrounding us. If we're not thinking about those restaurants, they may as well not even exist. And it's the same thing for you and your business. If you're not top of mind with your consumers or with your potential customers or clients, you may as well not even be in business, because they're not going to think about you. And if they don't think about you and they don't find you out either on the internet or in some other form of marketing, they don't know you exist, they're not going to purchase from you, and your existence is meaningless to them. So really, really think about how can you constantly create top of mind awareness with your consumers, and what is that strategy going to be for you? If you have never heard of SWOT, I want you to take note of this. So SWOT, S-W-O-T, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. As a business, you should have those very well defined. You should know exactly what your strengths are as an organization, and in those strengths, really what sets you apart, right, from your competitors, which is super, super important. You should also know where your weaknesses are. And frequently, people, just in general, don't like to admit that there are weaknesses. And each of us has our strengths and weaknesses in life. And because we're all humans creating these businesses, our businesses are also going to have strengths and weaknesses. You have to be really, really honest with yourself about what your weaknesses are and realize that you either want to work to try to improve those, or if you know that there's an area of weakness for you, totally steer clear of that area and just focus on growing your strengths. Opportunities could be places and expansion, areas for you where you really could grow as a business. So where are the opportunities that surround you? And really, I always like to think of opportunities as being almost the outer ring of what you have going on, because it's really that expansion place for you. And then threats are obviously, could be anything. A threat could be, an economic threat, having gone through a recent recession, that can be a huge threat to your company. Threat could be natural disasters. If you're, going to have a hurricane or an earthquake, or, those sorts of things could happen. A threat could be just a total change in your marketplace, right? Like, I always think of the example of the record companies. When people were producing vinyl records, they had been producing them for hundreds of years. And as there was a shift in their market and people were coming up to them and saying, hey, I don't know if vinyl records is the place to be, they all kind of said, you guys are crazy. We're good. We've been doing this for hundreds of years. We know how we're doing it. We're not going to change. We're happy. And the reality is that unless you are kind of living that vintage hipster life right now, you're not listening to vinyl. Most of us are listening to digital files. So changes do happen and threats encroach upon your business. And are you in a place to really be responsive to those threats? Are you going to really address those? And having that SWOT analysis really completed for your business is going to give you a solid perspective of who you are, which is going to allow you to market your business to your ultimate strengths. So really think about, have you created that for your company? And what role is marketing playing right now? Is marketing a big enough piece of the pie? So as you're thinking about running this business, is marketing a key component to what you're doing? And if it's not, I just really encourage you to reach out. I was talking to a woman the other day, and she said, hey, I worked this whole business plan up, but marketing wasn't included. And your business plan isn't complete unless it's got a strong marketing vehicle for you. I mean, you, again, going back, people have to know you exist in order to make a purchasing decision for you. Super, super, super critical and crucial to the success of your business. And then finally, I want to end on have crystal clear goals and a very good vision and a clear vision for your organization. You, as the founder and the leader of the company, it's really, really important for you to have crystal clear goals. You have to know where you're going. You have to know how you're going to get there. You have to have a plan in place, and it needs to be something that is very concrete. What I find with goals is a lot of times people don't make them specific and measurable. And if your goal isn't specific and measurable with some sort of a deadline, it's really not a goal. It's just kind of a dream. I will never forget sitting in my coach's office and, just kind of, it was one of the very first meetings that we had with him, and we sat down and we were selling booth spaces for our events at this time. And he said, "So how many booth spaces do you guys need to sell?" And I remember my partner and I looking at each other and saying, "We have a lot to sell." And he's like, "Well, but what's the actual number?" And we had no clue. We didn't know. I mean, we couldn't even tell you off the top of our head how many booth spaces we had. We knew that we had around 100. But when you're talking about dollars and cents for your organization, you need to know those numbers inside and out. You need to know, I have X number of products sitting on my shelf that I need to move today, and my goal is to get 5 of those sold today, or my goal is to get 500 of those sold today. You have to have a specific number in mind, or you're never going to get there. And it's the same thing with the overall vision and the goals for the company. If you are really working on creating an organization for yourself, then it's important for you to know that you've got to set goals for the people that are surrounding you, or you're never going to get to that place where you really have the power to create more for your company. You also have to be the visionary. It's so important that you are a strong leader and that you lay the foundation for the organization. If you don't come in with a strong vision, the people around you are not going to follow. And truthfully, you're going to get people who are stronger personality types that are going to come in and they're going to want to just take control. And this is your company. This is your vision. This is your baby. This is your creation. You have to be the person who is driving it. And even when you're creating an organization that is independent from you, you still have to be a very strong leader. You have to set the tone of the culture. I had the pleasure this last week of reading The Happiness Difference by Tony Hsieh. He is the CEO of Zappos, and it was just a really good book. And what I liked about it was his ability to just be so real. He's an incredibly intelligent guy. I mean, he's got all of these credentials behind him, and he's done some really brilliant things in business, but just his ability to be down to earth, I just appreciated so much. But yet he also had this ability to lead both the large companies he's had with a very strong vision, and he was able to create a very strong company culture, and all of that came from him. It came from his values in life. His core values in life really bled into the core values that were created at Zappos. And so wonderful just to hear that experience of how he was able to create something that he is a part of, yet also is a bit detached from, and really has this very, very strong organization. And, most of us aren't ever going to create a Zappos. Wouldn't it be awesome if we all did? But your company can be as strong and as vibrant as Zappos is. It's just really a matter of you deciding what your core values are, what your visions, what your goals are, and really bringing the presence of your leadership on a daily basis to that company. And that doesn't have to mean your physical presence. You can still be a very strong leader from a distance, from, your vacation in the Bahamas, because that's what we all want, right? But, you can still be a very strong leader within a company without you actually having to be in the office every day. It's the tone that you set. It's the people that you hire. It's the people that you inspire to really live out what it is that you've created. So really think about, do you have strong goals, strong visions? And I added the core values in there. Really, really important. Now, I said that the goals was my last point, but I skipped over a very important point and a very important lesson that I learned, and that is a lesson about partners. I have been so fortunate in my businesses to have multiple partners. And I really am fortunate to, I would say without exception, have worked with some really phenomenal people, one of which is my husband and another which was my best friend. And really having a partner in your business can be a huge opportunity for you. I have, however, also had close friends who've had business partners who've kind of drove their businesses into the ground. So I just want to take a minute and talk about partnerships. If you're thinking about starting a business and you have a partner, really examine that relationship. And if you are in business now and you're thinking about taking on a partner to maybe lighten your load, think about what that means as well. First and foremost, you really need to make sure that you have very similar life goals and life values, because ultimately you're going to bring, like I said with Tony Hsieh, he brought his core values into his business. You are going to bring your life values into your business, and so is your business partner. And if your business partner doesn't have the same values in life that you do, there's going to be friction. There's going to be, instances where you're really going to have a very difficult time. And that can be as minute as down to just work ethics. If you are somebody who puts a ton into everything you're doing and your business partner isn't putting anything into it, you're going to have friction, right? You're going to say, hey, like I'm working all the time in this business, and what are you doing? That's going to be an issue. I've had experiences where even the way that people talk to their employees, if you're a person who really believes in creating a company culture that is extremely uplifting and really, is one of praise and helping to bring out the best in your employees, and you have a business partner that is a yeller and a screamer, and they come in and they just want to know why everything isn't perfect and demand from their employees, that's going to create a really weird, hard dynamic for you to really function with. And it's so important for you to make sure that if you are going into business with a partner, that you have the right business partner, because the wrong business partner can do so much more harm than it can do good. I would really, again, encourage you to think about your values proposition, where are your core values, and then just the value that you bring to the business and the value that they bring to the business. So what will having this partner really add to the business? And be careful that you're not just adding a crutch, because a lot of times what I hear from people all the time as I'm doing my coaching calls is that they feel scared to do this, right? It's a big, huge jump, a big leap for them, and they're very intimidated by the process. So it's a scary thing to them, and they think, well, gosh, if I have a business partner, it won't be quite so scary. And I have to be truthful. Having had business partners, it's true. You're not ultimately responsible for everything if you have business partners. And there is a lot of camaraderie that happens with business partners and can be really, really phenomenal. So think about that. And if that's important to you, really embrace that idea. And then look at really this person that you're wanting to partner with. What are they going to bring to the organization? Is it going to double the value of your company? Is it going to quadruple the value of your company? Or is it going to detract from the company? Do they really not bring a whole lot? I've also known people who partner with individuals just because that person has money that they want to bring into the company. And you have to determine, is that good? Is that what you want? And are they going to give you money and then be silent? Or are they going to give you money and then want an opinion about everything? Or are they going to give you money and then hold that over you? So really, just kind of think about what it is that you're partnering with. If you're thinking about getting a business partner, really examine what that's going to do for your organization. Those are the 5 lessons that I want to cover with you this week, and they were big lessons for me that I learned in business, and I'm sure that I will use them over and over again. If you're kind of thinking about starting a business, or if you are in business today and some of these points really resonated with you, you would maybe like to find out, how do you create an organization or a business that is outside yourself so that you're not just creating a job, but you have something more? I would love to talk to you about that. If you're thinking about maybe getting a business partner and you're not sure if that's going to be the right path, that would also be a great conversation. And most of all, if you aren't crystal clear on your goals for life, the goals that you have set for your business, and really the vision and the direction that you would like to go, I would love to talk to you. Really having that foundational element is going to be huge and make a big, big difference for you. Coaching with the How to Quit Working program is a great way to really get you to where you want to be in life. And all you have to do is go to howtoquitworking.com/coaching to find out more information about it. I would love to speak to each and every one of you. Please feel free to ever reach out via phone call or email. And I hope to connect with you all very soon. And I will see you next Friday right here. Take care.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.